lesson, we are going to find the area of composite shapes. And our shapes are going to be made up of triangles, rectangles, and squares. So some of the formulas that you're going to need to use: for the rectangle, area is equal to length times width. The triangle, area is equal to 1/2 base times height. And the square is area is equal to side squared. We could even use length times width, but our numbers will end up being the same. So the directions say find the shaded area. So each one of these are going to be multiple steps. So let's look at problem number 1. I see that I have 2 rectangles. I have a large rectangle, and then inside that large rectangle, I actually have a smaller white triangle. So we're going to find those 2 areas, and then we're going to have to do a subtraction problem. So looking at, I'm going to label my work, of course. Here's my large rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply. I'm going to write my formula. Area is equal to length times width. So area is equal to my 26 times my 20. And when we do that multiplication, it is 520, and that is inches squared. So right now, that's part of one of our steps. We have multiple steps, remember. So now I'm going to find the area of the white, and I'm just going to write, and it is a 21 times 15. So area is equal to length times width. The dimensions were 21 times 15. So my area is equal to, when I do 21 times 15, I get 315 inches squared. Well, remember, I just want this tiny shaded part. So I'm going to take my 520 and I'm going to subtract the 315 from it. And when I do that, I get 205 inches squared. So that is the dimension of the small shaded area. And that's our answer. So let's look at problem number 2. So for problem number 2, I see that I have the dimensions of a 20 and a 20. So that's telling me that I have a square here. And then I see I have a triangle, and this is my triangle's height. So if I were marking this picture, this hits my base of my triangle at 90 degrees. And since this side is 20, we know my base is going to be 20. So now I believe we have all the dimensions we need. So let's start with the area for the square. And again, we could use length times width, but I'm going to use side squared. And area is going to be 20 squared. And remember, 20 squared is like saying 20 times 20. Well, we know that that is going to be 400. And again, that's meters squared. So now my triangle is, write my word, finding the area of the triangle. Again, I love writing those formulas, so I remember them. Area is equal to 1/2 base times height. So the area is equal to 1/2. Remember, the base was 20, and the height is 14. So when I do the math, 1/2 of 20, we know is 10, and then we're going to multiply that times 14. So my area is equal to 140 meters squared, and that's for the triangle. Well, my whole picture is shaded. So instead of subtracting for the last problem, this one we actually have to add our 2 dimensions together. And when we add those 2 dimensions, we get 540 meters squared. So this is our shaded area. Going to problem number 3. Well, it looks like a house. And I see it's made up of a rectangle, a triangle, But then remember, I have to find the shaded area. So I'm going to have to subtract the little door away. And that means that then I'll finally have my answer. All right, so let's start with the rectangles area. I see I have a 20 and a 25. So for my rectangle, again, I like to write it. And the formula is length times width. So my area is going to be equal to 20 times 25. And when you do that multiplication, you do end up getting 500, and that is feet squared. All right, so now we're going to find the area of our triangle. My formula, area is equal to 1/2 base times height. So the area is equal to 1/2. So here is my base, and it's labeled as a 20. And the height is right there. It's labeled as a 10. So I'm going to, again, 1/2 of 20 is 10. And 10 times 10, we end up with 100. So looking at that, I'm going to make sure that I add these two dimensions together. 500 plus 100 is equal to 600. But remember, we've got to subtract our door away. So it would be 600 minus 3 times 8 is 24. And when you do that math, you get 576, and that is feet squared. And that would be the shaded area of our house minus the door. If this video was helpful to you today, please add a like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more Math with Marcia. See you again soon.